gon' tune in cause the showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
Moving on to we got a few business tech topics that I want to discuss before we end the episode. So, as you guys have heard, the House passed legislation Saturday. Not this past Saturday. Can't remember what Saturday that was. But the news came out that TikTok is some Saturday that TikTok is going to be banned in the United States if the owner of TikTok does not sell it within a year. But reading the article that I found, it said even if legislation becomes law, the company would have up to a year to find a buyer and will likely try to challenge the law in court, arguing that it would deprive the app's millions of users of their First Amendment rights. Court challenges could significantly delay the timeline set out by Congress or block the law from going into effect. So, I was talking about this with King on whether or not the owner of TikTok is going to sell, and my answer was no.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's going to sell.
I saw something where they was also talking about the proprietary algorithm software and how even how that's their bread and butter and that's what's making them their money. Because it's not the fact that TikTok drops short form content that they're so successful. It's the way they go about it and how viewers are it's so accessible to find what they're interested in and then be consistently filled with that amount of entertainment. And it's like, if you sell it, I wonder how does their proprietary data, their information, their tooling, their software move over as well. And then you're essentially ruining the company at that point. Is that going to get shared once it becomes an American brand? What's going to happen to it? And I feel like that approach is almost like anti-competition, if that's what's really going on. But I doubt he would sell. I doubt the owners would sell.
I don't think he's gonna sell. I guess if I was the creator of TikTok, it does not make sense for me to sell my app. Like, y'all just wouldn't use it. Like,
yeah,
I see it two ways. That one, the conversation I was having with King was because he put out a video saying that he was going to fight for the rights for U.S. citizens to continue to use TikTok, because there's a lot of people who have come up to high places, who have made a significant amount of income, who has a significant amount of influence, platforms, etc., off this app, that if it gets banned, that it's gonna have some real repercussions. Like, there's gonna be some consequences. Well, I won't say consequences because ain't nobody did nothing wrong, but there's gonna be some repercussions if they snatch that out from under them. And then I could see it as, he cares about the people who are using this app. He understands that, like what you were saying, for is quick form content. It allows people to find things that they're looking for quickly, and it allows people to share news, updates, and things like that quickly. In the way that the algorithm works. But then the other side of the conversation was, is he fighting for it because could it be possible that most of his income coming from this app is coming from the United States?
And all of that is possible. All of that is possible because it got to be like, are you paying me for the value of it, but are you also paying me for the value that it will garner me in the future? Because TikTok don't seem like it's one of those apps that's going to die in the near future. Like, I know people have said that about other apps like Vine and everything, but literally, even when a company as big as Meta steals their recipes and applies it, and the app still loses no momentum and continues to innovate with the way it even funds its creators, like, TikTok is worth a lot of money at this point, and the owner probably would be better off keeping it just from an income basis, just from a, hey, I built this and I want to keep my money,
right,
versus selling out. And two, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but like, hey, government, y'all say it's like because of backdoor information and consumer data at risk, but Target and all these other companies just put us at risk not too long ago. Didn't my data just get exposed for something?
AT&T just had a data breach. But like,
look,
what I was reading in the article is that they were saying that this is one of the first like social media laws that they are really going hard for, versus all of the other concerns that we've had about social media in the past. This is the first one that they've really been like, hey, we need to do something about this TikTok shit.
And that's what confuses me. That's what confuses me, because as someone who's a little bit more youthful, you and me understand tech a little bit more than, say, the average person. My question is, why are y'all targeting this? Out of all the things that we could have put into
I
law,
think
like
it's
the age at
because
which people access these platforms,
mhm.
banning, like, say, pornography at certain ages to get a better control over what children are exposed to, out of all the stuff that we really could have focused on, y'all want to buy TikTok and y'all
I think it's
claim it's
because they
because of
can't
user data.
it's because they can't regulate it. If we read between the lines,
They want
they
control.
don't want to ban it officially. They want it to go to somebody else that's
Mm-hmm.
in the bounds of the United States government. And they
Yep.
mentioned Google, they mentioned Oracle, they mentioned Walmart. If he doesn't sell, the app has never, let's just put it out here, the app has never been in the boundaries of the United States, which is why all the data and all of that stuff has been coming up. And if they get him to sell, then it's within the boundaries. And now we have better control on how to regulate how this app works.
And from a business perspective, I get it. Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. I do completely get it, and my attachment to TikTok is not that huge to where I will get mad at either of the results. So I want like our viewers to understand that, like from a business perspective, yeah, it makes sense that a government is like, oh, we see this app, it's super big. We want the business to come to us. We want the money to come to us, especially since our citizens are some of the biggest consumers for said app. I get that perspective. You have the power to do so. You have the power to make this a negotiation. I get it. But I think what they don't recognize is there are a lot of people who are attached to this app who who if the owner of this app keeps doing what he's doing, they're going to support him. And so y'all might have to come to a ceasefire, make a new agreement, or just be upfront and transparent about why y'all want to do it in the first place, which ain't going to happen.
I think this is gonna stall. I don't think this is gonna be immediate
For
turnaround.
sure.
Like we're not gonna wake up tomorrow and TikTok's gonna be gone. This is going to stall out for a while, given the what you just alluded to, that there's some type of ulterior motive of why they really want. Because reading between the lines, and like going back to what I just said, reading between the lines, they don't want the app to go away permanently. If they
Or they
wanted
would have
the
been
app
banned it.
if they wanted the app that and if they wanted the app to go away permanently, they would not have came with the conditions that he needed to sell it.
Exactly.
So it's not the app. The whole statement of that they want him to sell it to like Google or who was the other company? Apple. Or was it Apple? It was some other company they listed, like Google or somebody else that they alluded to that they wanted to buy it. If they had not made that, the fact that they are making that statement is that it was never the app.
Exactly.
There's some type of ulterior motive. There's some other underlining issue or underlining benefit that we don't know about of why they want this app.
I think it's just money. Like me personally, I think a lot of stuff just comes back to money. Like we got a stronghold over social media in general in America. With like forget just Meta with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat, which we already just named a few. WhatsApp is heavily
Mhm.
utilized in a lot of other nations. I think we
Mhm.
just want to keep our hold over that market and get our money in. And it might be for some networking things. Because here's my thing: if y'all are going to say, well, American data can be used by the Chinese or whatever. So what you're telling other nations is that their data is being used by the Americans, right? Like when WhatsApp is being used in Nigeria, the Nigerians' data is being used by us. Is that what you're saying? We know it's
Well,
true, but
we don't own WhatsApp though.
I thought that was that was a Californian company.
Oh, I'm getting that confused with WeChat. WeChat
Yeah,
is the app that rivals, that is what Elon is trying to make X into. WhatsApp
exactly.
is Meta. Okay, I got those confused. My bad.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when y'all say this stuff, are y'all also basically saying the counterpoint that we're using all of the data from other nations? I know we're doing that. We both know we're doing that. But like, are we going to be transparent or not? Y'all just trying to get some money.
Yeah,
Y'all just trying to get some money.
there's some underlining benefit, or there's an underlining motive for why they really want TikTok. I don't think it's what they're telling us. Because
Yeah,
if
because
that
y'all
was the
protecting
case,
our data.
if that was the case, they would have just told that man to get your app off our app store and get out of here. If that was the
Exactly.
case.
Exactly. It
But
would
the
have been
fact
gone.
that y'all want to sell, oh yeah, just give us the app. We're gonna ban it, but if you just give us the app, it's just like, see,
Y'all just want some money. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm not that attached to TikTok. I'm not mad at that. But let's keep it let's keep it a buck.
I would just say I'm not that attached to TikTok, but I understand the benefits
Mm-hmm.
of
For the
and the
folks who really
value
making money on it.
that it brings, and the fact that it's a quick source of information. Like a couple days ago, there was we were on tornado warning, and I just went to TikTok and typed in my city in the tornado, and like 20 videos popped up with the tornado, where it's at, where it's going next, and I was like, come on, you
That's
can't
because
beat
their
that.
algorithm is just fire.
You can't beat that level of like instant information.
Have you noticed how Meta's algorithm is trying to catch up? How they introduced their smart software even into the search bars of Instagram and Facebook now got that blue
Mm-hmm.
ring.
Yeah,
Like
I just saw that today.
even they're trying to fix their AI to catch up to it.
But I
Like
just
I
feel
get it.
like Meta, because me and King talked about this too, like with Meta and YouTube, with Meta having the Reels and YouTube Shorts. I just feel like that's cool. And if TikTok went away, we would have to utilize those to keep our
Exactly.
content getting pushed out. But I just feel like there's so much going on inside of those apps that it does get blindsided from TikTok. Because when you open TikTok, the first thing it's going to is some short content videos that we can scroll
Mm-hmm.
for hours. You open Instagram, you got stories, posts, then you got reels on the back end. YouTube is some full-length videos, the shorts, and you got people, and then they introduced the
Community
community
pages.
thing. So I feel like those apps have a lot of stuff going on that you have to sift through before you get to their TikTok like content.
And even if the information on TikTok is inaccurate, it's also easy to find out if it is inaccurate. Plus, someone like me, I just want to see a fun cooking video of somebody in the forest making a steak.
Yeah.
It look good.
Guy in the woods, 40 videos.
The dude who walking around the Everglades snatching up snakes and swamp puppies. It's cool. It's entertaining. And my whole thing is like y'all can't just y'all can try to take it away because y'all have that power as a nation and with your own economy and money and funds and all that other good stuff. But at the same time, y'all ain't gonna win over the citizens and the consumers of this product. Y'all
And
ain't
that's
finna
why
do that.
this is going to drag out. And
It is.
that's what I'm saying. Like this is going to drag out for a while. Like the ultimatum is there, but when we reach that year, I don't think we'll come to a resolution.
I think it's gonna be a battle of attrition because it's like everybody's motivated to stick to their side. So I want to know what's going to be the factor that basically makes someone give. Because it's like if the owner sells, bing, bang, boom, American consumers still have TikTok, America gets their control. If he doesn't sell and the app gets banned, how many folks in America are going to be like, bro, y'all just took my source of income, F you, now the government gets, like, how are protests going to rise? Are people going to be that upset? Are they going to get over it? There's a lot of risk that comes with that as well. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
would it would have to be significant because like when we first started this conversation, I mentioned that there are a lot of people who have risen to very high platforms because
mm-hmm.
of TikTok. But these platforms that I'm referring to are outside of TikTok. Like if TikTok went away,
YouTube.
they would still have that platform. They would still have that audience. So I feel like people whose platform solely depends on TikTok, because a lot of these creators have extended past it, because now they're doing their YouTube, Twitch, all of these other platforms, if their platform solely dependent on TikTok, that if we woke up and it got snatched away overnight, that's the significance that I feel like would have to happen.
But then I would ask you, because now that I've taken in your perspective, I would almost say that TikTok, well, the owner is at a disadvantage, because if the creators did right, which we're trying to future proof ourselves for, if once we get big, they would have expanded into YouTube and Facebook. Even if
I mean,
their
that's
2 million followers didn't convert to 2 million subscribers on YouTube,
mhm.
even if it's just 100,000, if them followers really want to watch their content, they're going to get on YouTube and they're going to subscribe and start watching them shorts.
But most creators have been doing that anyway. Like when they first talked about banning TikTok, I was seeing a lot of content creators on Twitter saying that, hey, don't keep your content solely on one platform.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they've already been saying that, but I see your point of view of saying that he's at a disadvantage because then their audience would just jump to the next thing. But I think it's kind of like of a double-edged sword because yes, he's at a disadvantage because if TikTok went away, some people might not be too upset about it because I can still follow this creator on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. But for the
Exactly.
other side, and let's just in going back to the algorithm conversation, the way that those apps might handle their content as far as algorithms go may be significantly different from how it's being handled on TikTok. If we want to talk about audience and we want to talk about views
They
and
might be
discover,
very different.
and we want to talk about discovery as well.
They might be very different, but I think they could come very close depending on how much they invest into it, which they've already been doing. Like, even I would say the Instagram Explore page has become a little bit better at exposing
Hmm.
me to things I want. The issue is that I have to go over to the Explore page. You know what I'm saying? TikTok
Right.
algorithm, the first thing that's there is basically their Explore page. So it's like converting that over, having the instincts to switch to that, if that's the type of experience I want to have, is what's really going to be a determining factor in my opinion.
Hmm.
But I don't feel like that's going to be a long-term issue. I feel like that's more
I
short-term.
I could see it. I could see it not being a long-term issue, but I think it would be an issue to begin with
Mm-hmm.
because we've already talked about how it's hard to get into the YouTube algorithm. Like if you don't break through that first like couple hours, like it's done. Instagram is the same way, and then with Twitter, it's getting even harder doing to like with the Twitter Blue stuff and all of that other stuff that they're working into. But I don't disagree that those apps aren't making the moves to increase their algorithms. But I'm just saying that at this point, if TikTok got snatched from under us overnight, I feel it's a double-edged sword on both his side and our side.
Yeah. Because one thing that is interesting about the TikTok algorithm, someone could have like 5 videos with no views, but if they upload one video that's pretty fire, 3 million views. Like the Tessa girl or whatever, I can't, don't let me butcher her name, who talked about like the boyfriend that dumped her or something and broke up with her. That
Oh
started hitting
yeah.
like big news channels. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Went viral out of the blue. But if you look at their videos before that, it wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about the TikTok algorithm. Like, you could literally get big overnight. YouTube, it ain't like that no more. You might get
Right.
big over a year or two,
And
but
that's
you
all
ain't
I'm
getting big
saying.
overnight.
And that's all I'm saying. Like, yes, we can move our audience to YouTube, but are we gonna still get that level of impact as far as discovery,
Mm-hmm.
views, etc. on YouTube the same way we are gonna get on TikTok? And right now, I'm gonna say no. And this isn't to say that if it went away, that all of these other apps aren't gonna start improving their algorithm to match it. It's just that
Right.
right now, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, but I definitely support your idea. I definitely think it's gonna be like a battle of attrition. Who's going to give first? And they're probably going to prolong this as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm interested to see how this plays out. To anybody who is making moves on TikTok, for all of our content creators, like we
Mm-hmm.
just said before, like in midst of conversation, start branching out your content to these other platforms. Like don't like start posting your videos on YouTube, Instagram Reels, etc., and start building out your audience, or migrate your audience to these other platforms just as a precaution. Not saying that TikTok is finna disappear overnight, but just like spread out your content.
And if TikTok is your source, give us some input. How do y'all feel about it? Are y'all worried? Are y'all scared? Are y'all like,
Yeah.
I did the work, I'm gonna be alright?
I mean, I could see, so even if they did put in the work on like these multiple platforms, I could still see some people being frustrated because of like, I've built up this platform, I've racked in millions of followers, I get all of these views, that's a piece of like my income, that's a piece of my platform, that's a piece of my influence that is at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I
see,
agree.
even with us, I mean, we're not like racking in millions of views, but the views that we are getting, the audience that we have been building, that's gonna go away too, and we're stuck
Yeah.
back at square one before we got on TikTok. So
Yeah,
the
because we
the
kind of get a
frustration,
decent amount of support on all platforms at this point.
right. So the frustration is valid on all fronts.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Find out next time on the Blerd. I feel like we're just missing the point of why people watch anime to begin with.
Preach. And that is my thing. That is my thing. When you talk to people from other nations, they always say Americans act like the world revolves around them. And we do. We